everybody. I'm Jack Midkiff. I want to thank you for watching, listening, and subscribing to my podcast. If you haven't yet subscribed, I would ask you to go to Spotify, go to Apple Music, wherever Android lovers listen to podcasts. Go to YouTube. I think we're available on there too. So just go and hit subscribe and follow and all that kind of stuff. And then follow me on all the socials at Jack_Midkiff. It's always awesome for me to think about being hooked up with you. Today, this little subject I want to talk about was actually inspired by a video that I saw from a very famous bass player. This bass guitarist, his name is Leland Sklar, I think is how you say his name. Scar, or I think it's Sklar. He has played for the group Toto and for many years, and he has played on sessions for everybody under the sun. He's just amazing. You can look him up. But he said something. He was showing this guitar that he had, and he said, "This is my producer switch." Now, if you are not familiar with the process of recording music, there is an engineer in the studio with you, and he's or she's the person that turns the knobs, gets the tones, and basically does all the active physical work of hitting the button to record and hitting the stop. And then you've got someone that is actually helping the artist or the musicians come up with the actual sound of the ambiance of the record, and they're called the producer. They kind of call the shots. They're the ones that says play this note or sing this note or whatever. And in all seriousness, there's a lot of producers that this is kind of one of them old country sayings, but I hope you understand it. If you could buy them for what they're worth and sell them for what they think they're worth, you can make a lot of money. In other words, there's a lot of producers. There's a lot of great producers that are very knowledgeable and know what they're doing, but there's some of those guys that they had a buddy that knew somebody that got him a gig, Well, anyway, Leland was talking about this guitar that he has, and he said, "This is my producer switch." And in the most loving, kind, gentle, spirited way, he described what that producer switch is. He said, "I'll be playing, and if the producer says, 'I don't like your tone, can you give me another tone?' He said, I'll go, 'Okay,' and I'll flip that switch." He said, and I just move my hands a little bit. And he said, I'll say, "How's that?" And they'll go, "Yeah, man, that's awesome." And he said, in all honesty, he said, that switch does not have a cable, a wire, anything to it. It's a placebo. So my son and I were talking about that because we talk about music a lot. And he said, I love how he stayed calm and kind and just did. And my analogy of that is that, don't you know that a guy like Leland Sklar has played on thousands of records, has run into some pretty pompous producers, and come up with this idea of going, you know what, I'm going to do what I know I can do. I'm going to give them the tone that I want to give them because I know that's my best. But I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to try to prove a point. I'm just going to trick them a little bit. And my take from that is that comes from a place not of arrogance. He wasn't arrogant when he said it. You can go and probably find that video. I found it on I don't know, Instagram or TikTok or something. You could probably go find that, and you'd see that he was being very kind about it. He was just saying that he knew what he needed to sound like. He knew what he wanted his bass guitar part to be. So where that comes from is not a place of pompous, being arrogant or rude. It's a place of confidence. And how much better would we be able to perform and do the things in this world that we're supposed to be doing if we had more confidence? There again, let me reiterate. I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm not talking about being rude. I'm not talking about trying to prove your point or say, I was right. But just getting done what you know needs to be gotten done and dealing with all the noise in a kind, gentle way. I wonder how much better our families would be if mama didn't have to prove daddy wrong, or daddy didn't have to show son that he was still the head of the house. And I just wonder how much better our jobs would be if we understand that there's a protocol and we just follow the protocol. We follow the fact that we have a boss, and whether you like it or not, it's one of those things. If you don't like your job, that's okay. Just go find another one. But do your very best at the one that you're at until you find another one, because that doesn't speak of the character of that mean boss. That speaks of the character of you. But confidence in who we are, confidence that we are who we want to be, gives us the power to do that. Now, as Christians, I believe that confidence comes from a personal relationship with Jesus. But we have to make it applicable in our everyday walk with the things that we do, the positions we have, the things we say. And so it's really important to be confident. A lot of us have been handed some fairly rough cards early in our life, and it messed with our confidence. Others may have made some really big mistakes. It messes with our confidence. Maybe we were in a relationship where someone was really mean to us and really ugly to us and really, degrading to us, whether it was as a kid, by a parent, a spouse, a boss, and it's messed with our confidence. Today, figure out who you are. I'm 53, and I'm figuring out who I am even more and more every day. And so, therefore, I'm not allowing people. Hey, I'm a pastor. In all seriousness, I'm a pastor. That's what my position in this world is presently. I'm a pastor. I'm gonna coin a phrase from a buddy of mine that maybe I shouldn't, but I'm gonna say it anyway. People's crazier than anybody. And as a pastor, I've dealt with some pretty eccentric people that felt like they, knew more than me. Maybe they did on certain subjects. Maybe they were smarter than me. I had one particular woman one time. She didn't like something I did. And understand, I've always been, not trying to toot my own horn, but I guess I'm confident enough to say I've always been kind. I've always been forgiving to people. But I've had some people say, they get aggravated at me. They say some pretty ugly stuff. And this one woman, we were having a discussion, and for the life of me, I can't even tell you what it was right now, but I remember this. She said, "Did you even graduate high school?" And she meant that, of course, I just kind of laughed, and my wife, LaDonna, reached over me and hung the phone up. And I said, "What'd you do that for? You don't need to listen to that." And here's what happens, though. A lot of times we have so many voices in our ears and in our head, and we don't do the work to get to the place to know why we are who we are and why we should be who we are and how to maintain who we are. And so therefore those voices can peck away at our confidence and affect how we treat people, what we do, how we face life. So today, I've just kind of decided I'm gonna call it a producer switch. I want a producer switch in my life. Talking about the little switch on Leland Sklar's guitar, a placebo. You can't please everybody, and that's not what I'm proposing. But there's nothing wrong with giving a little sometimes. Like, I can just imagine Leland being in a studio somewhere in Nashville or LA or New York or London, and some producer go, I don't like your tone, man. Can you, and Leland, in his kind, gentle way, not wanting to make anyone mad, not wanting to get into it with someone, but in the same sense, him being the consummate professional and excellent player that he is, he knew what he was wanting to sound like on that. And so he went, hang on, click. How's that? Much better. And Leland's like, so he handled the situation, but he never compromised who he was or what he was doing. That's what I want to be able to do in life, is handle situations in the same respect, not compromise who I am and what my job is. So today, find that place of confidence in your life. If you're someone that plays music, find that place of confidence. If you are a preacher, find that place of confidence. If you are a mechanic, if you play basketball, if you run a company, find that place of confidence. Where do you find that place of confidence? You got to know who you are. You got to know who you are. You got to know where you're wanting to be in life and what you want to produce or give off in life. So find that place that you know who you are, walk in that, and live your life with confidence. Now, at the end of the day, I get my ultimate confidence from my relationship with Jesus. And I suggest that to anybody that's looking for confidence, because He's the one that gives it to us. He's the one that gives us power and strength. So, today as I leave you, I'm Jack Midkiff. Thanks for watching my podcast. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Hey, find that place of confidence and be successful. See you next time.